Welcome back to the Nullified Take channel on YouTube, where Kahuna and I've got the TNT takes for you on the Challenge Season 40 Battle of the Eras, Episode 7. That is right. I'm your host, Chris. And Kahuna, we are back. It's been a couple of days since the last time we spoke, on Monday when we spoke about Survivor. But we get to shift gears here a little bit and go to a product that feels very familiar to us now, because we've been doing this for a while, talking about the challenge, right?
Yeah, we're the original Vacation Alliance, just us two, as far as challenge podcasting goes. But fun episode. It is a weird thing again, like switching between Survivor and Challenge when I know Gabe and Josh just look so similar in my head.
Yes, please, no Survivor spoilers. Thank you, Danica. I don't know anything about Survivor either. Luckily, I know Lovable Nikki does not watch Survivor and never will. So she's not going to spoil us. Lovable Nikki, welcome back to the live. It's great to have you back. We've got Chris back as well, saying good morning. It's good to have some of the familiar names early on in this live. Sit back, relax, get a cup of coffee. I know it's early over there in the States, or whatever you guys need to do to get through the next hour. But we're going to be dissecting everything from episode 7. And there's a lot going on, but also not a lot going on, especially when it comes to the strategy part of the game. It kind of feels like we've been going through the motions for a couple of weeks now, Kahuna, and it's just over and over the same era that is getting targeted in the game. So era 2, era 3, and era 4, they're sitting pretty. They're not really under pressure strategically for most of this game, and it's making it hard to know where the true allegiances in this game really stands right now, because there is such an easy target in era 1 week in and week out. Now, with that number dwindling, we may have no era 1 after next week, and then finally the prelims will be gone, and we will start seeing some of these alliances crack a little bit, and we'll see where the allegiances are. Is that the way you're reading it as well? Because to me, it feels like, we're kind of not seeing, we're seeing a bit, but we're not seeing everything. Like, I feel like, even Jordan's decision this week was very unclear to me. I don't know why he leaned the way he did. If it was just Nia with the loyalty to Nehemiah, that doesn't make sense. That's not how Jordan plays. Like, I feel like we're missing a lot at this stage.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, we always see every season, right? It tends to play out where the first half of the season is a lot of where the dominant alliance sort of does the pagonging, right? They get rid of the numbers. There's usually the 1 or 2 Euros that aren't connected to anyone the last couple seasons that they go out early. And then there's other people that just don't have the same connections. They go out early. And then eventually there's some of the bigger alliances that then have to then take each other out or start taking themselves out. And it really feels like this season, the fodder is just all of era 1. They just determined that era 1 was the targeted group, and so easy to go back to the well. And you're right. It's interesting to see how so many intercrossing alliances between these other groups, specifically 3 and 4. We've got actual love relationships now, along with strategic and all that sort of thing, like how that sort of starts playing out as they have to start cannibalizing themselves once era 1 is gone. I'm really actually fascinated to see what happens as far as if they break the format here. Like, did the producers go, hey, what happens if we just lose an entire team in a 4-team competition? Like, it's so odd.
I'm going to be honest with you. For me personally, and I don't know what fans feel like and how they feel about this, we've gone through the pain of losing Era 1. Like, these are some of the OG favorites of people. Like, they lost Tina this week. They've lost CT, you know. We've seen some real big characters go home early. Darrell's gone, and I know Darrell is loved by a lot of the fans. Like, if we've gone through the pain of losing so much people in that Era 1, we now need to commit to the rest of the season, and it has to be a team competition until the end. Like, otherwise they could have broken this thing up ages ago, and we would have seen something happening that potentially could have saved some of our favorites in the game. But if we've had to go through the pain, we've been crawling through glass this whole season to get to the other end, and then you suddenly yank that away and say, now it's an individual game. I feel like I will feel a little bit hard done by this whole thing, to be honest, Kahuna.
It's been really tough, hasn't it? Just losing so much of Era 1 back to back to back. That, you know what? It's really interesting. You brought up last week, you sort of posed the question, what does it say about Era 1? Are they past it? Like, is it maybe too much, that era? And seeing Brad go out, CT the week before that, I said, no, this doesn't really affect the legacy, like on an individual basis. But when you add them all up and you're seeing how much Era 1 really is disadvantaged in a game like this, some of them are even still, relatively game sharp with all stars and things like that. They're not like coming back after 20 years of nothing. Some of them are fairly in the world still, and it's not looking good for the older era. Maybe the all stars is their speed. You know what I mean?
Right. I mean, if you need to write down in the sand to figure out what 760 times 2 is, it's tough. It's tough. Like, love Darrell, but I feel like All Stars is his pace right now. And what I'm kind of interested in, Kahuna, is do you think that this is going to affect the ratings? Like, this season has been going up in the ratings. A lot of people have tuned in. Is there enough favorites still left in the game for people? Like, do people still care about the characters that are in the game, or will they just bounce out now that the likes of Tina, Darrell, CT are all gone in the game? Like, a lot of these favorites from Era 1, like, who do you think, like, the fans right now, they're coming back, they're like, I want to watch this season because so-and-so is still in this season? Who do you think they're sort of holding on to?
You still got Cara Maria, you've got Jordan, you got Laurel, you got Bananas. Laurel's like Laurel from a hate kind of, relate. But as far as she is one of the big characters still in the game, you know what I mean? And has always been on that upper echelon with them. So they've still got people in the game that are draw cards for sure, and showcasing the new generation really well too. If this season was kind of meant to be a bit of a passing of the torch, it's actually working really well to show that handing over, where they're highlighting how good this new generation really is.
Yeah, I want to come back to the handing over of the torch because I think there's definitely a couple of people that are starting to stand out as characters that we may like to support in the coming seasons. And I think they're doing a good job at creating a couple of characters that we can get behind. But I just want to say we've got some royalty here in the live. I haven't had Zoe in the live for a very long time. Zoe, welcome back to the live. For those who don't know, Zoe is my co-host for Survivor South Africa content, which we haven't had a season for so long. And she says, Darrell didn't know the answer at all, with a bunch of laughing emojis. Let's see what people are saying in the live. Danica saying, I'm so disappointed in how Era 1 is getting picked off. I feel you, Danica. I'm with you. It's ugly. It's like, it's that feeling when you look at the TV, but you can't look, but you still want to look. Like, you don't want to miss anything, but it's like someone's getting beaten up. I shouldn't be watching this or enjoying it, but I'm still glued to the screen. I want to see what Rachel's going to do. I want to see what Derek's going to do. Derek is hobbling on one leg. Rachel is starting to say she's coming to play. She's going to fight. She's trying everything strategically in the game. Now she's literally going to have to fight because she's going to get nominated every single time. I don't know. Like, there is still a lot of like, I'm enjoying the season, Kuna. Like, it's like I don't like it, but I like it. I'm invested.
Well, that's what good storytelling is, isn't it? Right? Like, your favorite movie, like Rocky, has to get beaten down before they win. That kind of thing, Like, the tragedy is part of victory as well. So if someone wins, someone has to lose, and unfortunately, right now, it seems to be the people that we love a lot. But Rachel is looking so good through all of it. For someone who has been missing for such a long time, you have to wonder how. Like she doesn't miss a beat. She's got the fire that that wasn't like, even with All Stars, you didn't get a tenuous return. Like Aviv is kind of finding her feet and sitting back a little bit, and Rachel is just straight in and leading everything, like just looking so good as well throughout all of it.
I said this before, All Stars is the best thing that could have happened to Rachel. Sometimes when you come back, you get hit on the nose. It's a fight or flight reaction, and she has definitely got the fight reaction right now, and I'm loving what I'm seeing from her. Danica saying the confessionals are going to really miss Tina. CT pro tips, go after the other teams. They are a threat. And Lovable Nikki says, don't do this. I'm not doing anything, Chris. Lovable Nikki, this has already happened. I am simply commentating on what Era 1 has done to themselves in the game, okay? I'm not doing it. They did it to themselves. All I'm saying. Chris is saying, Danica, Tina is the confessional queen. Her presence will be missed. And Brittany, welcome back all the way from Canada. Early in the morning over there, but we love to have you in the live. Danica saying, didn't Darrell lose by riding in the sand before? I can't remember, but it sounds like a Darrell thing to do. And especially because, Kahuna, when you're riding in the sand, you just got to make sure that it's clear, it's even, it's nice to ride on. Like, take your time, right? Very important.
Yeah. Yeah. That's funny. Because, I mean, by the way Rachel described it, it sounded like he was like getting his ruler out, tape measure. He's like perfectly, like, it did take him a while though, right? Like, surely you
get
just
the level out,
scribbling.
make sure that it's equal, like it's an even surface that you're busy riding on, like taking some proper time there.
I feel like the whole process of drawing in the sand isn't necessarily to have a legible worksheet. It's to kind of just do you visualize it mentally while drawing it out. It's just so you can kind of have that process, not so you can see it and have I don't know, that's a weird thing to me, like that he was making it so perfect that it felt like he needed to preserve it so he can come back and work out bits separately rather than just the running tally of while you're drawing in your head. You know what I mean?
Totally. Brittany here says, Brad made a great point on Zach's podcast. He said that Era 1 had no leadership and they never had a plan. Now, obviously, when we're looking at the other eras here, we've got Era 2, who, I don't know who's leading that, but I mean, they do have some experience in Bananas. They've got some experience in Laurel. They've got experience in the likes of Cara Maria. There's seems to be a few, and Derek's having another very good season. I don't know who's really leading Era 2 per se, but Era 3 definitely has Jordan and Devin and Tori, I would say, would take leadership positions. And then if you look at Era 4, they definitely also have some people who are used to sort of leading when it comes to things like this. You probably got like your Michelle's, you've got your, Kylan's to a certain degree is starting to stand up as a bit of a leader. I don't know if Josh is doing much. Maybe he's leading a little bit and probably just following most of it. But then also Casey is a cool head in a lot of those challenges. So I feel like maybe that is something. Like, does the new era have better team players, funny enough, than Era 1? And Era 1 used to be a team, sort of showdown. Like, this should be more foreign to the new eras compared to the old era, right? Or am I just mistaken here?
Look, I put a post in. I commented on a Reddit thread I saw that was sort of asking about the discrepancy, why Era 1, and I was like, it's not just like, there's the whole thing in sports of like, they used to play against plumbers and stuff, right? Like in that they played against plumbers, and I feel like
the amateur sort of era,
the amateur era was definitely what Era 1 was raised in, right? Like, they were drunk frat boys every night. That was like, probably, in all honesty, in the 90s and early 2000s, a lot more than just alcohol was being imbibed by many of these people. There was steroid abuse. There was everything going on. There was no rules. And they were just kids who were just having fun. Whereas now I feel like the mean age or the average age is a lot higher with this new generation. They seem to be taking it more as a professional approach, wanting to get many callbacks for season, and the money is so much more appealing. Like, you mentioned last week that they were doing it for sidekicks and like Burger King vouchers and phones and things like that. Whereas now it's $1 million. Like we're talking about a different
Free
beast,
game.
and the competition reflects that, right? Like I think it's every sport you see, even though people don't like to say this is the fifth major sport, blah, 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 like whatever you feel that way, even from reality TV, it's a very professional world now. This is their livelihood. This is their job, and they take it a little bit more seriously to stay fit. Like Derek mentioned in this episode, Era 4 is all like pumping iron all the time. They're strong and they look good, but are they going to gas out? Like that was a weird thing to say. The people that exercise a lot, maybe they're going to gas out, was such a weird call from Derek. I guess he can do it because he's very good athletically, but that's what I see the difference is. Era 1 had some absolute legends that were competing against similar competition, you know what I mean? And age is also a massive factor in all of that, right? How long they're out of the game.
You said it, Kahuna. They can't come for me tonight. You're saying you're taking the hits tonight.
40s. This is my era. These are my people, right? And I was like, Derek's knee thing. I was like, how did like a broken leg go to like knee pain? And then I thought about it. I went, you know what? A while ago, like I twisted my neck and I had that crack thing, and I was like, oh shit, am I dead? Like, did I break my neck for like? I was like, oh no, I'm dead. Oh no, I just And sometimes that happens. Like you go, I twisted myself. I think I broke my back. Maybe that's what it was. Like everything feels that much more amplified when you're Derek's age. There's more miles on the clock.
Yeah, it's funny. Okay, let's have a look at what other people are saying real quickly here. Danica saying, I want Rachel, Cara, and Jenny to be the top 3 girls. Yeah.
Ooh.
I kind
of mean, look at this week. As far as the targets go, people are like, should I put my hand up? Do I volunteer? Like Avery, I don't know if she thinks strategically, but she put a hand up to volunteer when it's literally Rachel, Cara, and Jenny as the
Tough
3
one.
targets.
She's a silent
and
killer.
Avery's like, okay.
Yeah. Chris is saying Rachel has a fighter spirit. I have faith in her surviving. Now Derek, on the other hand, with that bum knee, that's going to be tough. I do love the Licky. You keep calling me out. Like I don't know what I'm doing. Like I'm just stating the facts. I'm simply a commentator of what I'm seeing on the show, right? And I'm just verbalizing what I saw. That's all. Chris is saying, lovely Nikki, welcome back to the live. Here is Chris not understanding what you mean. Chris does not miss a beat. Deanna saying, hi, Chris and Kahuna. Hi, Deanna. Hope you're doing well. Lovable Nikki is saying, Brad wouldn't know if Era 1 had a plan or not. That is so true. I wouldn't trust Brad's. Like, Brad wouldn't know if there's a plan ever. Like, he probably wouldn't understand the plan. Danica saying, Casey hasn't been in once, right? Era 4 is so clicky. 100%. Casey is playing like the smart game. Like, if you can sit back and not get thrown in, do it. Like each era is like sort of approaching the game a little bit different when it comes to that. Hollis is saying, good morning, everyone. Sorry I'm late. You're right on time, Hollis. You're right on time. Chris is saying, age barely matters here. All these eras are all AF, but era 1 is just that little bit older. And like, I trust Kahuna. Kahuna's in his 40s. Like I haven't reached that yet.
Early 30s to mid to late 40s is a
something to look forward to, Kahuna. I feel like I'm in my prime, Kahuna, by the way. I'm running more than what I've ever run. Like, I'm starting to get my times back down. Like, I just signed up today, and you're going to think I'm crazy, for the next Spartan obstacle course race, which I'm going to be doing in February next year, running up a mountain. And I'm doing 3 races in one weekend. I'm doing a 6 kilometer, a 10 kilometer, and a 24 kilometer in 2 days.
Man, when you finally get on Survivor, they're in trouble, mate.
Mate, I'm loving it. Like, my workouts is coming back.
Wow. So where's that going to be?
It's going to be in Bright, Victoria. Yeah. So looking forward to that one. That should be fun. Danica saying, I was proud of Darrell for going off that building. Do you think Tina grabbing that extra flag cost them the win? It's hard to know. Let's talk about the daily. The daily was fun to watch, but again, I would like to see, I don't know, maybe it takes the suspense out of it a little bit. We obviously don't know exactly how long they took. We just know that they showed the first team really struggling with Josh going down. Josh did so well. Like, he said he was going to just go straight at it, grabs it. They take forever to pull him back up. But the only criticism I have of the daily, personally, Kahuna, is just that I wouldn't know who's in the lead, who's first, second, third. Like, I don't know. Sometimes I feel like I want to see that more than the suspense of who's it going to be. Because I felt like the way that they sort of told the story throughout the episode, it was always going to be era 2 or 3 that would win on the day. That was the feeling I was getting, the way that they were setting it up with Naya and now Maya being friends, and now Maya saying Naya would never target me, and I would always have her back. Like, I just felt like the story was telling us one of those two were going to sit in power by the end of the episode. But I don't know. I don't know if Tina not grabbing the flag with the extra flag actually made any difference.
I wouldn't think so. Like, I feel like some of the other guys said, like, especially from some of the commentary the others said, they said that, like, it felt like they'd turn around and they were straight back up kind of thing. Like, so Era 1, like, if they were pushing for that 2.5 minute difference, like, I don't think it was within 2.5 minutes. You know what I mean? Like, as much as I probably would have loved it, like, especially Tina struggled on the puzzle as well. Like
that. Let's talk about that for 1 second. I felt, if we're going to talk about it being unfair, that was super unfair. The other teams had 3 people working on the puzzle, and they all could use. I know for some of them, like Ryan was just sitting there cheering his team on, like Banana said. But for some of them, right, like, it actually mattered because there were 3 people trying to solve the puzzle. Tina had to do it on her own.
Yeah. I don't know. That's the numbers, I guess, right? Like, that's what they kept saying. But Tina, yeah.
Or did the others just self-select out? Was Rachel, Darrell, and Derek like, listen, girl, it's all you. We're horrible. We'll sit on the side.
TJ said it. TJ said,
it?
because only one of you will be doing it. So he did
I feel like that's a bit unfair. Like, if they were having to do both sides of it, I feel like they should have told them 2 or 3 people could do it equal number. And that, I don't know how other people feel, but again, obviously, okay, Brittany's saying, unfortunately, it was fair because the same people who jumped couldn't do the puzzle. They were randomly chosen. Yeah, I get it, but it's like, man, you got to do double the work, and it does make a difference. I'm trying to say, having only one person solve the puzzle where the other teams had multiple people. But I guess in some cases, the other people couldn't select who they wanted to do the puzzle. So that kind of equalizes it out, Kuna, because maybe some teams had people doing the puzzle, like Corey and Avery doing the puzzle. I'm sure wasn't the game plan that Era 3 went into this game with, thinking, oh, we're going to put Corey on the puzzle. But hats off to Corey, man. Did he dominate that puzzle? Like, I was so impressed. Like, Corey he's primed to win one of these finals one day, Kahuna. Like, how this guy's turning it around. Like, he's, a couple of seasons in now where puzzle suddenly is becoming a strength of his, which we always used to criticize him on. Like, I'm just looking forward to seeing how he would perform in this final if he gets there, because, he's putting in the work.
He's having a really good season. I actually am very liking Corey a lot. The last couple seasons, the way he played on USA 2 and stuff, keeping it low and chill, not taking big shots, and he's hot-headed, young buck nature. But I don't know why he can just never, like, he seems to be such a likable dude. He just never gets on the numbers, does he? He's always like fighting against.
Because he's not a suck up. He's not a kiss ass. He's not a kiss ass like all the other vacation alliance. He's too real for them, Kuna. He's like, I don't do this. I don't kiss the ring. I don't go on these holidays with you guys.
Is this a flaw in his game then?
Family.
Yeah, but neither does Bananas, right? Neither does some people. But he also, I guess, he hasn't earned the respect where he doesn't need to suck up. He doesn't unless you've got the reputation where the sucking up isn't part of the, you either got the reputation.
Maybe Corey doesn't want his reputation to be tainted by hanging out with the Vacation Alliance outside of the game. Because clearly, if you look at Corey and you compare him to the Vacation Alliance, he's too cool for those guys. Like, he should not be hanging out with them. He should be running in his own lane, right? I feel like he's like, I don't want to be seen with these guys. I don't want to be on the Instagram photos with them and things like that. I'm just going to do my thing. But it hurts him in the season. But it makes me like him even more. He's what?
He's hanging out with the Teen Mum Alliance, Teen Mum Vacation Alliance. That's
the alliance that he should be hanging out with.
Yeah.
Listen, we've come a long way on this podcast, Chris. We've had Kahuna slowly but surely turn on his opinions of Corey, because it's not Corey's worked for the praise of Kahuna, right? Like he's improved on the aspects of the game that he didn't do well in previously, and he's become more and more likable every single season, right, Kahuna?
Yeah, like I have to, I have to remind people again that my negativity towards Corey is because he doesn't live up to potential. I feel like he should be way better than he actually has been. And I don't know if he's got the mentality to win. He's never won in as many performances to get there. I don't know if he'll ever win, but he has all the tools in his belt. I just don't know if he knows how to use them that
I'm
well.
putting money on Corey winning a season. I
You
reckon he
reckon?
wins the season. In the next 5 seasons. You guys heard it here first. I'm calling it. Corey's winning a season within the next 5. If he
Is he
comes
winning
back
this one?
consistently.
Is he winning this one?
I
'Cause
don't
this
know.
would be like
I don't know. Like for Corey to win this season, he's going to have to go up against the house time in and time out. Who does he have right now? Nehemiah? Like is Nehemiah enough
Yeah.
of a backup for Corey to get to the end of the season? I kind of feel
Nehemiah's
like
got no one either.
I kind of feel like Jordan had Corey's back in the argument between Devin, Jordan, and Corey, where Jordan's like, you just got to man up. You just got to go into these eliminations, keep the chaos of the game away from the team. And it kind of felt like he didn't maybe verbalize it as much in that moment, but it felt like he actually saw it the way Corey saw it, and that Devin was backing out of throwing himself in there. And Jordan is a man of honor. He's someone that throws himself in. He's someone that's not afraid to do that. I don't think he respects. I almost used Turbo's words for this, the meow chicken way of being able to not go in, right? I don't think Jordan would respect that.
Yeah, I mean, he definitely was backing him up in saying that. Like it's part, especially because I like that he said, we said that this is how it would be in order to avoid this exact circumstance where we all said we would do it just so we don't have to put up with this crap. And like that's why I like that he's saying it. At some point we all go in, no harm, no foul, because we all have to go through it. We're all in this together if we want to get through as a team. And he said that it's so there's still that, like, it's not just bravado, be a man, you got to go in, everyone play the game. It's strategic as well. He sees a cohesiveness and a benefit to everyone having skin in the game, pulling together and having the same stakes so that you all pull equally, wanting to stay out of it, because you know that you're going to go in at next week and you want them fighting just as hard as you're fighting for them now. Like, look what happened with Laurel, like sitting down and that sort of thing. If you know there's a commitment that it's going to 100% go circular, then you're hoping that they're going to be pulling their weight for you as well. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I like his strategy this season. I think you're much better to take it head on, die on your feet trying, standing, rather than running, being shot in the back. It's much better to approach the game that way, especially in this season. King Cash coming in with the question of the night so far. I'm interested to see how Devin takes a shot at Jordan without pissing off Tory. I don't think Devin's taking a shot anytime soon. I feel like he's very comfortable with that alliance. Like if he is taking a shot at Jordan, it's way close to the end of the game, probably too late for him to really do anything about it, because I just don't think he's, I don't know. Do you see a way that it happens? Do you see him turning on Jordan soon at this stage, Kona?
Not while Corey's still there. Right? Like,
I agree.
Yeah, like as soon as it becomes Devin or Jordan, Devin pushes Jordan in front of any bus that might come, right? Whether it's with Torrey, using Michelle, using whatever leverage he might have and relationships he has, if it's him or Jordan, he'll do it. But while he doesn't need to, as far as he doesn't want to like poke the sleeping bear kind of thing, I feel like that's the whole reason why Error One has become the target, because it's almost like a ceasefire between the errors, right? Like Bananas and Jordan, no, and even when Bananas and Devin, the way they've had a little bit of animosity, they haven't gone at each other because they don't want the other to come back at them, right? And it's a little bit of, hey, we know we're going to get to them at some point. We don't need to do it so early, but at some point, there's going to be no one else to go for, and war will start. I don't think Devin wants to start that himself with someone like Jordan, who's so well equipped to come back at him,
Mm. Brittany, just making sure you remember, Tory literally saved Corey by voting for Josh in USA too. So there is hope for him. Tory nearly lost a friend because of that. So I don't know if she can do it with Josh for a second time. It'd be interesting to see. I'm here for it though. Chris is also saying Kahuna is praising Corey now because he is afraid of that hall brawl. Listen, if you're like Kahuna and you put your back out by sneezing in the morning, you need to start, thinking of an exit strategy. That's all I'm saying, right, Kahuna? Like, I can't blame you.
Listen, when I started the Corey Hall Brawl call out, I was 140 kilos bigger. That's 400 pounds or something bigger. Like, there's a difference now.
Wow, so you've lost 140 kilograms already. Is that what you're saying?
Total? Yeah, total. From
That's
when I
insane.
started the challenge podcast, probably about 100, 110.
Yeah, that is insane. Well done.
Yeah.
Well done. I didn't
Yeah.
just putting that
So
number
that's very
out there.
different. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's different
You're in a
maths.
different space.
Like,
Yeah.
and if you remember, my whole thing was based on physics. I have different physics now.
That's fair. That's fair. That is insane, though. Awesome job, Kahuna, from Chris. Lovable Nikki saying congrats. Brittany saying congrats, Kahuna. Health is wealth. Yes, absolutely insane. I almost feel like maybe it doesn't work this way because I'm not in your body. But if you ever watched anime and things like that when you were a kid, like I'm a big Naruto fan, and there was this fighter, Rock Lee, that had like weighted things around his arms, right, and his legs, so that he could train with it the whole time. And then when he shed that weight, he was so much faster and quicker. I don't know if that's the case with you, Kuna, where you go out there and now you're conditioned to still carry that extra 140, but it's gone. So now suddenly you're like a superior potential athlete. You could be undervaluing yourself and go out there and really put Corey on his ass. You could do the Theo Ollie thing.
I had this weird thing. If you want a little bit of insight into what it is, I was like, oh man, when I lose some weight, I'm gonna like play basketball again, like I used to play basketball and stuff. I'm thinner now than when I did play basketball, so I should be okay to play. And then like, oh no, I have 20 years of all that weight on my knees, and if they're not 21-year-old knees carrying weight, they're now 44-year-old knees that have done a lot of work and carried a lot of weight over the years. So in many ways, yes, like I'm way more nimble. I can do so many more things around the house. I do sidestep and avoid damage a lot more. I've got a puppy that's underfoot right now that I'm able to do a lot better. So yes, way more agile. But there's an adjustment to it for sure. Sometimes I forget and I I look at a door and I'm like, I can't squeeze through there. It looks too small for me.
That's crazy.
But yeah, but I can fit, and there's a body dysmorphia thing going on with it. But yeah.
Well done, mate. It's honestly, it's an awesome achievement. Bloody Money here says you're like Saitama or Saitama. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. I think it's One Punch Man. If you've ever seen that, which is pretty cool. Danica is saying we will need. Sorry,
I just want to see you do the Spartan run with the Naruto run up the mountain.
Oh yeah, with the hands behind me.
Yeah.
Danica is saying we will need a before and after shot of you, Kahuna. So proud of you. So for those that are interested, Kahuna's channel, Kahuna Vision, he normally puts some content on there every now and again to talk about his weight loss journey. So the next time you put one of those links up, I'll put it back in our comment section in the post, and you can take people through the journey. How long has it been since you've updated people on that?
A year now, actually.
Wow.
On not Kahuna Vision, Fat Dad Slim.
Oh, Fat Dad Slim. Okay.
Yeah, it's on my Fat Dad Slim channel. About a year ago. But even if you go to Nullified Take, look at when we first started the Challenge Australia. There's a big difference even from then to now.
Massive. So, yeah, I remember that. Yeah. King Cash is saying, can Kylan be the face of the next generation of the challenge, or is it Horacio? And I will say, or is it Michelle? Like, I feel like Michelle is the other one that's sort of coming up at the moment, as well as a potential contender. Both Kylan and Michelle, a lot of their story being told. Kylan, he had, is it the dyslexia or not dyslexia? What was it again that he was struggling with his words and with being in a strategic game? Because obviously Big Brother people didn't like the way that he came across, the things that he said, but they didn't understand the things that he was struggling with to begin. I think it was some form of autism, right? That he has. He's even spoken about that. And now suddenly he's very confident. He's taking out champions in the game. He's called the Calculator. He lived up to that name of being the human calculator on this episode. Is Kylan the future face of the challenge?
He's definitely a big part of it, whether it's the face of or a ensemble group of like when that's what built the challenge originally, right? And out of that big ensemble where they have the multiple people, I think he's a building block for sure. And whether he's tier 1 or that tier 2 group where he supports the bigger people that will eventually be the face, he's definitely up there. And he's going to be a big part of the show for sure. I said that last season. I thought the big winners out of the season was that Bernard Murray got a Kylan, a Horacio, and Nerys out of it, and the rivalry of it, and Olivia with Nerys. I said they wanted the momentum of that to come through, and so far Kylan's like showing that he's got what it takes to be a full-time cast member.
I think Kylan's a lot more likable than a Fessy. Josh has become more likable over the last couple of seasons for me. I know some people won't agree with that. I don't have a problem with Josh per se. I think he brings some good drama to the show. I think he's also calmed down a lot from where he was when he first tried to make a name for himself on the challenge. But I think Kylan's a more likable person than a lot of the people that are in the Vacation Alliance. So I'm all for shipping the Kylan next phase of the show type of thing. And I know that I'm getting a lot of people saying not Michelle, hell nah. I don't have a problem with Michelle. Like, she's definitely a lot better without Jay on the season. She's more likable without Jay this season compared to last season. I don't think, like, it's interesting to see, like, she is growing in certain ways, Kahuna, because I've been tough on Michelle a lot of the time, saying she's not great at doing physical stuff or doing challenges. She's always good at the puzzle side of it, but she also gets in her own mind quite a lot, and she's quite frazzled. This episode, she did the opposite. She actually kept her cool. Even when she had to go in, she didn't frazzle. When she had to be in the arena, she didn't frazzle. Like, I'm seeing some growth. Like, could she be someone that over many seasons can grow? And especially now that we know her why, like, she's got, in my mind, a pretty admirable why. I remember her talking about her brother a couple of seasons ago, but I kind of forgot about that. And it got brought up again that her brother had this accident and that, one of the few joys he has is seeing her participate on the challenge. I think it's a pretty good story to get behind. It makes me understand a bit more why she's putting herself through this torture every couple of seasons to come back on the show. Because there's obviously some easy money involved in it, but still you get a lot of backlash from the fans when you put yourself out there.
Yeah, you do. But like, I think Michelle is certainly, like, people say that she's not up to scratch physically, but I mean, as far as cast members, a really strong contributing, so maybe she doesn't win, who knows? They never stopped a nanny from a 20 season cast member. It doesn't stop Nisa from being a 20 season cast member. You know what I mean? Like, they're good characters that work well with her. She knows how to give in confessional. She works well strategically. She's not afraid to get into a relationship on the show, which they love. And who knows, the first couple of seasons,
I'm going to put you on mute for a bit, Kahuna, because your internet is absolutely flaking on you. If you want to drop out and drop back in and see if your internet's going to fix itself, we couldn't really hear much of what you were saying, but I think it had to do with a couple of other people that have played the game before. I couldn't actually hear a lot of what you were saying, to be honest. It was quite robotic, but try and maybe drop out, drop back in if you want, see if that fixes the internet, because you were good for most of the evening. Mucky in the live as well, saying keep up the great work, boys. Mucky, great to see you in the live. Chris is saying Kylan has autism. And Danica saying he's autistic, was a non-verbal child. So again, had to come from, some pretty dire circumstances or situation to be able to be on a show where you have to articulate yourself all the time. And the game is social as well as the challenges, and he's had to adapt to that. King Cash is saying, I thought it was Fessy, but I don't know what happened to him. I just don't think Fessy is likable enough, King Cash. I think that's why he's not really a big part of the show anymore. Brittany is saying, I do think Kylan is a stronger competitor, but he is not a leader, so I hope not. There's something about him that just doesn't sit right with me. Yeah, I can see it. Like, I mean, even on this one where he was talking to both Darrell and Nehemiah, he can come across as a little bit cocky when he said, you know, I'm young, fresh, I haven't won yet, I'm more hungry than you guys. But I'm kind of coming from a sports background and having played a lot of sports. You do a bit of trash talking in sports situations, and some of the best people do that. I think Jordan is someone as well that doesn't mind a little bit of trash talking here and there. One of the things that was quite interesting for me personally is that Jordan in this deliberation was quite emotional when he had to make a choice. Like, I understood it from Naya's perspective because she had to choose between a Darrell and she had to choose between Nehemiah and then also Tina, who she's close with, and she respects all of them. But obviously Nehemiah, like she said, has got this real connection with her outside of the game. The one thing I just didn't really fully understand, and I'll see if Kahuna is back. He's trying to get back on. One thing I just didn't understand is why did Jordan have this reaction? Like, Jordan didn't come across to me personally as someone that is extremely emotional. So it was interesting to see him kind of tear up because he had to put Era 1 back into the arena here. He had to put Darrell back in and he had to put Tina into it. And I didn't fully get why. Kahuna, I don't know if you are back because you're frozen on my screen, but did you have any thoughts about Jordan getting emotional when he had to make that decision? No, still not with us. King Cash is saying Jordan with the fake cry was wild. I didn't feel like it was a fake cry. I felt like he was really emotional. King Cash, can you tell me why you feel like it was fake? I know Jordan is an actor, so he probably could fake a cry if he wanted to, but it felt real to me. Kuna, what did you think of Jordan tearing up at the deliberation?
I don't know if it was fake or real, but it doesn't feel like I didn't doubt it. I didn't go that's fake, but now that I think about it, it doesn't really fit with his
I don't think it was fake at
persona.
all.
Yeah,
I
but
don't think it was fake.
I don't think it was fake, but like you're right. Within he was screaming at Tina about it's a game, like it's a card game. We're all just part of the thing, and has always been about the game. We know that's how he is. I don't know why it was so emotional for him now that I think about it.
Yeah, I think Brittany kind of has, maybe it had something to do with this. Brittany said, I caught that Jordan was emotional too. Colin said on IG Live that Tina had a very emotional speech about her connection to Vietnam and her mom fleeing due to the war. So, yeah, obviously with that and wanting to stay longer to be more connected to where her mom was from, maybe that pulled something in Jordan and he got more emotional than what he would normally get in these circumstances. Like, we do know that Jordan's got a big heart. Like, I mean, when the Ukraine first started going into war and things like that, he actually went over there to help with like relief, if you remember correctly. Like, he was one of the people who went into behind war lines to go and give supplies to people. Like, I think Jordan is a good person outside of this. People are like acting like he can't have emotions. Like, I'm pretty sure he can, and something connected with him in that specific moment. Danica saying that wasn't really trash talk. That was autism speaking blunt and factual. My daughter is like that, comes across as arrogant. Yeah, and I think that's why some people still, Danica, read Kylan wrong. Like, I think Kylan's a pretty likable guy in general. Danica saying, did Jordan and Tina bond at All Stars? It is possible. Woolie's also saying, sorry, I'm late. Do you think Naya made the right decision? Yes, I do think so. I think that you need to, in my opinion, you need to look out for real friends. Like, if you're playing the game, like, unless I was playing the game with Mucky, I would throw him under the bus, obviously, because he would do the same to me. You always look out, Kahuna, for real friends. I feel like in the game, right? There's certain bonds that go beyond this, and the fact that Naya was looking out for Nehemiah in this moment, they both haven't had much opportunity to play on the main show for a very long time. How many true connections does Naya have in the game at the moment? Outside of maybe like a Nehemiah and a Jordan, you know, those are like the people that are the closest to her that will probably go out of their way to keep her safe. If you've got only few people like that, and maybe Kylan, because she's now seeing him, you got to protect them in the game, in my mind.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, also the fact that it made sense strategically as well. There was no real benefit that Tina was bringing. Like that they sort of like how almost like how Darrell said to Corey, that's not an offer, that's a statement. Like they're not bringing anything to the table for Nia either. You know what I mean? Like what's Tina really offering? So if they all cancel each other out as far as benefiting strategically goes, then why not honor the friendship that is closer and stronger? As much as Nia loves Tina, like you're right, like her and Nehemiah are very close, and as much as Tina doesn't have a lot of people in the game, Nehemiah has less probably, if not for Nia. You know what I mean?
You know what was shocking? I didn't realize that it was only Nia's second, I think she said second ever daily win on the
She's
history
really
of the
bad
show.
at dailies.
I'm like, wow. So she actually had power for once in the game and could make a decision in this moment. Lovable Nikki says the challenge, the friendship games. It's always going to be a case. It's always going to be a thing. And then Brittany had the same thought I had. Great Mites think alike, saying, I don't think it was fake at all due to Tina's history. It makes sense given that Jordan did activism in Ukraine by helping people flee. Brittany also says, also Darrell did make Nia a target earlier in the season. She may like him, but it's not like Darrell looked out for her. That is true. Danica's also saying Darrell and Kylan for Rivals 3. Yes, I think that Darrell would be the biggest winner in that combo if he did get Kylan. But again, we talk about Rivals 3 like it's going to be a thing. Like they've had so many opportunities to bring Rivals back, like Kahuna said last week, and we just haven't seen it. Like we're always making these dream matchups, but production just doesn't care. They just don't want to go back to Rivals, Kahuna, for some other reason.
I mean, if that's the rivalry as well, by the way, Kylan's beaten him 2-0 now. 2-0. Like,
one-sided.
Yeah, like usually we're in when it comes to boxers and fighters and stuff like that, if it's that one-sided, you don't get the third trilogy. You know what I mean? Like,
is it as one-sided as the Josh West rivalry?
What rivalry?
It's never a thing. It's never going to happen. By the way, Wes is playing in House of Villains, the next one. I see he's been promoting it like crazy. I might check it out because I like Wes. Wes is like one of my favorite personalities. I didn't watch House of Villains 1. I didn't really care to see Bananas on another show, but Wes being on House of Villains, the next one, I may check it out.
Interesting how he wouldn't do the challenge. He's retired enough for the challenge, but House of Villains, easier schedule.
Maybe less heavy on the body. Like you don't have to physically do as much. I don't know. I've never watched the first season, so I'm not too sure what challenges look like on House of Villains. But I just feel like he's the right kind of personality to go into a season like that and be fun to watch and root for. What didn't we talk about? Let me have a look. What did you think of Jordan's move in this scenario? Like a lot was made about Nia picking, who she picked. Did you like Jordan at this stage not showing his cards between eras? What was it? Eras 2 and 4? He wasn't willing to take a shot to become the common enemy of both those eras. Do you think it was a good move by him at this stage?
Yeah, like I said, like why start that war now? You're in a ceasefire at the moment with a very easy target that can't retaliate. That can't I hope I'm not unfortunately mimicking some very real world things at the moment with my analogies. But yeah, like at the moment they're in a stalemate. Like no one wants to take that first shot at the other teams when you've got a wounded duck on the side there that's such an easy target for you. Why draw that heat and get people aiming at you when, like you said before, Chris, Jordan is a massive target, right? He knows he is. So why would he want to start the targeting at him earlier than he needs to, especially when he knows that if he can get to a final, if he can get past more and more eliminations and beat the law of averages, he's got a better shot to get there. So if he can put it off for as long as he can beat anyone in a final. He doesn't care who it's against. He just needs to get there.
Chris is saying that Russell Hans is on it too, a Survivor legend. Was it Russell? I don't think it was Russell Hans. Like I looked at it and it looked like it was Richard Hatch that was going to be on it, not Russell Hans. I don't think he's on it. Are you sure about that, Chris? Unless, listen, I'm not going to claim I'm on top of House of Villains casts always, but I'm pretty sure I saw Richard Hatch instead of him. Right. Okay. Yeah, I thought so. Danica saying House of Villains is Short, they get their devices at night so he could keep in touch with his wife. Brittany says, ultimately, I think Jordan keeping Nia happy was the good move. There's no point of him trying to force her to do something she doesn't want to do. Totally true. Yes, lovable Nikki, thank you for posting this. We never do this in the middle of the live, but if you like the live, please like it and subscribe as well. It does help with the YouTube algorithms. Had a major brain fart. I'm still kind of half asleep. That's fine. It happens to Kahuna every live as well. He can relate.
Yeah.
So when you think about this episode and you think about this arena, they had to go in there. They had to move all these doors, do the math, get to the other side, unlock the code to hit the button to win it. Did you think that this arena lived up to it? Did you like it? How did you feel about the arena in total?
I really appreciated the challenge of it, like the complexity of it. It tested a lot of different skills, like that claustrophobic thing. Like, this is a typical challenge thing, that it's always finding something that is not your stereotypical skill that you might have. So I did like that. I don't think it was a good TV challenge though. Like you mentioned on the daily, how difficult it was to see where people are. Like in this one, you could just sort of see them doing stuff, and then eventually someone pops out. You're like, oh, they were the ones that were obviously that far ahead. But the maths, they had to put graphics on screen because you couldn't see anything that they were real. I didn't even know where the numbers were, to be honest with you.
At least they did it. At least they put
Yeah.
the graphics on the screen. We've had previous seasons where we don't see it. We can't do the
That's
math
true.
at home. We don't know what's going on. So I think we have to at least give them some props for listening to probably some feedback from fans, and actually putting some of the math on the screen for us. And to me personally, I kind of liked it. I find it kind of funny to see how Darrell went out. Like, he was the first one out. He had the math. It was 760 times 2. He needed to take the time to work out what 760 times 2 is by putting it in the sand. And Kylan, the human calculator, just coming from behind, straight into it, didn't need to think about it, straight into it, gets it. I thought it was pretty exciting. Again, seeing how close the girls were as well in this challenge. Like, hats off to Tina, man. Like, she is... Like, you're talking about these people that are getting older that potentially can't compete with the young ones. I would argue that Tina is better now than what she was when she did the challenge originally. She's one of the few people that have gotten better. She's like a fine wine. She's getting better with age. So I'm all for Tina coming back for the next season of the main show.
Yeah.
I think she did enough.
She gives entertainment value and stuff as well. And why not, right? Like, when my internet was stuffing out before, I was in the middle of a rant about how Michelle is certainly worthy of being a foundation member going forward. Like,
I agree.
When people say she's not strong enough athletically, she's beat Cara Maria now, she's beat Tina now, and I said that I was saying she's just as good as an Anissa.
And let's not forget, Tina beat Emily. Tina's no easy beat this season.
So, like, Michelle's not a slouch. She's not a Jenny West, and she's not a Tori or a Cara Maria, but she's certainly capable of it. And Tina is just as capable as a lot of these people, but brings so much more, confessional-wise, entertainment-wise, like personality-wise, outshines her physical capabilities by leaps and bounds. You know what I mean? Like, I don't mind having a Casey in there who's not that good entertainment-wise because she is very good physically. And I don't mind having people that are really good entertainment-wise that aren't as good physically, as long as they're not hindrances. And Tina is by far not a hindrance at all. You know what I mean? She's doing really good.
Yeah. Brittany's saying Tina definitely held her own, and Lovable Nikki is saying Tina was pretty great back in the day, but I'm glad people are recognizing her strength now. So yeah, Tina definitely had a very solid season. Sad to see her go. Darrell, like, what's your thoughts on Darrell? Do we see him come back? Does he ever get that 5th win? He's been trying for a while now. What?
Yeah, he can't. No, I love Darrell. He can't get a win. Like, he'll not in the main show. I don't think he'll ever get a win.
All Stars 2. That's the one that got away. All Stars 2, I believe it was.
He can still win an All Stars. I think he can still win an All Stars, and I think that's definitely where he should be. and that's his speed. I just don't know if I'm hoping maybe All Stars has enough appearance fee to make it worth Darrell. Like if that's all they're giving him, I hope it's enough. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally agree. Love him, Licky says. So Willie Lloyd says, I like Colin. Me and him have July birthdays, and we both have autism, which I can relate to. I like Colin as well.
Yeah.
I think, again, I like people like similar to Michelle and some others that they've got growth to do. They're not the finished product yet, but you can see some potentially if they're coming back enough seasons and they're working on certain aspects of the game. Brittany is saying Michelle is a decent competitor. I just can't get past her need to be liked. She's such a pick-me. And that I do understand. Like that annoys me a little bit as well when she's like groveling for it. Like, no. You're a badass, own it, live up to it, don't beg for acceptance from anyone, right, Kahuna?
Yeah, but even if she is, and it might just be a part of her personality, the more seasons she's in with Devon now, she's automatically in the Vacation Alliance. She won't need to have that because she's going to be automatically with a built-in alliance and crew. And we know that she's always, because of that desire to be liked, she also uses it quite advantageously to make alliances and she can never do it to Laurel because she's sociopathic, and that's I think has been the thing that's like picked away at Michelle, that she can't get Laurel on side. But look at how she ran 39 with Jay because of her relationships. Maybe it's driven by the fact that she needs to be liked, but she uses it to win $1 million on Survivor, right? And she's now gotten to the point where she is 1000% going to be an integral cast member going forward, and it's not because of her physical nature.
Yeah, totally agree. Danica saying Darrell is a main show character. He'll be back. Willie's saying it sucks that KZ never becomes a target because she just skating by and just wants her an elimination so she can have some pressure. She's still good at the social game. She's still good at the strategy. Got to give credit where it is. Like, she just can't be touched in this game. And it's annoying to watch, but she is phenomenal at not getting thrown in and making sure that the connections are there. And I love the fact that she's like, I'm not volunteering for anything, and I'm loving it. Like, that is the way the game should be played. Jenny is annoyed, but she's like, Jenny, what you going to do about it? What are you going to do about it? You don't have the friends to come after me. So,
it's exactly the same as Bananas and Ryan. The same as Bananas and Ryan. Like, the fact that it was just, I've got friends sucked in. Like, what do you want?
But I did appreciate the fact that we're seeing some vintage Banana coming back. Like, Bananas, I should say, has been like, I don't know, where's this Bananas been? Like, we're seeing the psychological mind games coming back, which is like vintage Bananas. Like, it's like he's pissed off. He's lost too much now, Kuna. He's wanting to get back a dub, and they're not making it easy for him. And he's taking it out on Ryan this season.
Man, like, Bananas works really well from the top. Like, when he's in a power position, either because of his alliance or because of his reputation and longevity in the game, and what privileges that affords him. But if you remember, after the rival Sylvan, the Sarah, when he stole the money, the Bananas curse, when everyone was against him for that season, he was such an underdog and very like he did work well. Like, it's not like, but he hated it. He hated being in that position, and he cried about it non-stop. And this is what it is. He's not in a power position at the moment. He doesn't have the numbers. And it's just, I always laugh. I think it's so funny in this game when they know that is the game. It's part of the process. And Johnny Bananas, of all people, who will do the exact same thing. If he was in Ryan's position, he's doing the same thing every season he can. That's his whole game. And he's calling him out and crying about it. I hate the hypocrisy of it all.
I love it. I absolutely love it. It is amazing to watch. It's like, I hate it, but I love it at the same time because it's so delicious to see Johnny having a meltdown while he's playing the game. Willie's saying it sucks. So let's see what else is saying. Lovable Nikki here is saying we need the solo game. Jenny West will mop the floor with Casey. I want to see it. I'm here for it. I want to see that. Chris is also here for it. Danica saying, where did this Bananas and Ryan spat come from? just seemed out of the blue. Bananas has been keeping an eye on Ryan. He's like, Ryan's not adding value to my team, and he's sitting on the side pretty. He's not going in. And Bananas knows he doesn't have that same safety. Lovable Nikki is saying John is crying that Ryan will not self-nominate. You first, John. John has not self-nominated. John is the biggest target in the house. I love how Lovable Nikki doesn't want to call him Bananas. Just calls him John.
John.
Brittany is saying, I liked Ryan, but Johnny had a point. Ryan has been skating by. I agree to it as well, but the name of the game is not to go home. Everybody plays this game differently, so you can't hate on him. Don't hate the player, hate the game, Brittany, is what I'm saying.
I wonder how Bananas... You mentioned before psychological game, that he's playing the psychological game. I wonder if he is actually genuinely salty, upset Suki, or is he actually just trying to call him out for, and he knows,
he's throwing some Hail Marys.
Like, I hope so. I hope he's not genuinely upset, because it is part of the game, and he should know that, right?
Yeah. I mean, is there anybody who's been on more seasons than him? Maybe CT? I don't know. CT or him, either one of them have been on the most seasons. So I don't know.
No, Bananas.
Derek K needs to step out with that bum leg. I fear next week will be the end of him. Yes, let's talk about that briefly as we get towards the tail end here of the live. Nominations next week, Derek and Rachel are straight in there because they will now be going in every single week until Era 1 is wiped out of the game. Era 2 will have Cara Maria and Derek go in that spot. So my girl Cara Maria is in danger next week. Not really happy about that. And then Era 3, Devin and Avery will be going in. And then in Era 4, Jenny and Theo. The one-eyed bandit did nominate himself to go in for this elimination. What do you think of this lineup, Kahuna? Are you excited to see either Theo... I wasn't Devin. Sorry, did I say Devin? Devin didn't go in. They ended up putting who was from that team? Was
Corey.
it Corey? Corey ended up going in. Yeah, I made a mistake on my notes. Sorry, guys. So yeah, Theo, Corey, Derek, or Derek. Who do you think is going to go in next week, and what matchups would you like to see? For me personally, I'd love to see Corey versus Theo. I reckon that'd be a pretty cool matchup.
That would be amazing, especially in something physical. Although, do we want that? Because if that was the case, I think Corey's going home. so you know, like,
I don't know.
Who knows there?
I don't know.
I think, Corey was pissed. Same thing there. Corey was so pissed at Devin for saying, like, even if I wanted to volunteer, I don't think Michelle would say my name. So I'm not going to say my name. Like, it was... Again, that same thing of like, why would anyone get so angry? Jenny West, maybe because she's done it so many times and is so nice, she's not going at anyone, but it is such a weird thing.
Because I think it's the hypocrisy of it, Kona. It's the hypocrisy of saying we're a team, we're going to self-nominate, each one's going to get a turn, but then as soon as it's convenient, I'm not going to follow through. So I think Corey's not happy about that. Don't gaslight him, then say that we're not doing self-nominations. And it is every man for himself. You know what I mean? So I think that is what's gotten him annoyed. And I think he's entitled to feeling that way. Devin could still have said, hey, I'll volunteer. And then Michelle is like, well, no. You're my main squeeze. I'm not putting you down there, you know? So I get where he's coming from. I don't blame him too much for that. But yeah, I'm not sure if Corey Theo is a foregone conclusion. Theo wins that one. I don't think Theo is completely invincible on every single thing that he's done. But I'd love to see it. I'd love to see it. It would be a really, really good one to take place. And then for the females, it's Jenny, Avery, Cara Maria, and Rachel. Do we get a rematch of Cara Maria and Rachel on this next round, or is Avery a sitting duck?
Avery's got to be going, please, team, please do not come last. Like, looking at that lineup, that is crazy that this was the week she finally decided to volunteer. But I mean, is there anyone that you like when they have the discussion of who you want to go against? Like, who do you even pick in this lineup, if not for Avery? Like, obviously Avery's the choice, but like, if Avery's looking down the lineup, who do you go? Rachel, Cara, Jenny West? Like, what do you even do there?
It's not a good round to be Avery, is all I'm saying. And she's like, I'm a secret weapon. I'm a sniper. They just don't know about me. And I'm like, maybe it's too early to make a joke about this, but I was going to say, if you're a sniper, your aim's off like a certain recent sniper. But we should be talking about that on here because we will get in trouble. We'll get in trouble on YouTube. We don't want to get in trouble on YouTube. But I just don't think that you're going to be hitting your mark. That's all I'm saying, Avery. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Let's see what people are saying before we start closing it off here. Corey, not Devin, apologies for that. Brittany's saying, I still think Colin made a mistake picking Jenny. Why didn't he team up with her? Also, Corey should have made a scene. If Era 2 goes into a limbs and wins, Cara and Derek will 100% pick Laurel and Bananas again. Yep, I totally agree. I think Laurel and Bananas straight going back in there. Willie is saying, imagine if we get a Jenny versus Rachel or a Cara Marie and Rachel rematch. I think those are the two better matches that you can get. Lovable Nikki is saying, all Devin had to do was volunteer. And let Michelle say, absolutely not. Completely twinsies on that one, Lovable Nikki.
I really liked Devin's approach, how he said, Michelle's the one going in. I'm not going to go to her and make it about me. She's the one that has to, like, especially if you're doing this as a pre-plan before she's literally going down into the sand. I love that Devin protected her and didn't want to fuck with her head that way. Like, he genuinely liked this girl.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I do like that as well. I think he still could have been like, listen, I'm not going to talk to her before this, but I will nominate at that point. And if she wants to put me in, we're good. If she doesn't, we're good, right? But he could have still done it at that point after it was done. Danica says, do you think Laura will throw it? Maybe Bananas will get Era 2 Derek out to we can run. I 100% think Laurel's going to throw it. I don't trust Laurel at all when it comes to Cara Maria. She doesn't want Cara Maria in the final. She's going to do what Laurel does in this moment. And then I would like to see if Cara Maria once again will be the bigger person and not throw it when Laurel's in the next round. Because I feel like that's the point where Cara Maria just goes, okay, all bets are off. I try to work with her. She's clearly not going to work with me. She doesn't want to play ball. I'm not doing this one. It could easily happen.
Shame on you. Fool me twice. Shame on me. Cara Maria, by the way, her hosting of the Devin's birthday party, by the way, was classic challenge. I love that aspect of this episode. It was so good. Everyone had so much fun. All the rivalry was put aside, all the animosity, and to have Cara Maria emceeing it and hosting with some pretty good jokes as well. Great part of the episode that almost was a standout for me, to be honest with you.
Yeah, she was doing all the roasting. Some great jokes.
I
can't remember the exact jokes, but it was the
Derek and Ryan as the strippers. What the hell? Like, I was like, why was I so happy to see Derek dressed that way? It was
Why were you so happy, Kahuna? Is there something you want to tell us? Yeah, it was fun. It was a lighthearted moment to sort of start it off, and I think that's the balance that these older contestants bring to the game, where the new contestants are all about strategy, crunching the numbers. They're the human calculator like Kylan, and then the old school, they bring a little bit of the fun into the game as well. Not a whole brawl. We are going to see some sort of hands-on physical daily next week, which I'm looking forward to, because Rachel's about to pop off on that one.
Poor Derek.
Derek's going to be tough, yeah. Danica saying, all right, we saw it first, right? I'm tired early. I don't know. I think Laurel is friends with Derek. Okay, that would be good if Laurel doesn't throw it, because if she throws it, I'm just saying, gloves are off next podcast when we come on here, Kahuna. If she throws it to get my girl Cara Maria out of the game. But that is it here for this week. Leave her alone. We have spoken about everything that we can for this week. Thank you so much, everybody in the live, for being so active. I know it's very early over there in the States where you're at. We always enjoy all of the live comments and everybody that keeps waking up early to come and have a chat with us. We will be back next week, same time, same place. We'll try and have as much fun as we can with this. And I'm looking forward to next week. Kahuna, any final thoughts, words from your end?
No, I'm looking forward to it too, man. We're going to see some fireworks as well, apparently, according to the next week on. So it's going to be fun. Derek and Corey.
Yeah. Let's go. All right. See you guys next week. Have a great rest of your week and weekend, and we'll see you next week. Bye.